Set. 4, 3, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. Today, we are 5 pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports. We are talking with an Alabama fan, Pastor Robert. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. It's great to be on. We're having a good time, and roll tide.
Oh, yeah, roll tide. And, you know, John's got a little smirk because he was taking glory in our Cowboys struggle yesterday. John, are you finally home?
Well, I think if your team like mine is 0-3 for the season, you're really at a point where you're just happy other people are failing. So go Cowboys.
That's funny. Hey, I think we need to pitch in some money and buy Paul some Miami Dolphins gear. Paul, 70 points.
Dude, it looked like opening week at college football over there with Miami, man. That's ridiculous. Like those are college scores, bro. Like what on earth, man? It's crazy. Even our backup quarterback threw a bomb. Like, come on, man. That's just, we'll get to that, but absolute annihilation.
Absolute. Miami is riding high. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's going pretty good. So, fellas, let's jump in. We're going to start off, for those of you listening, with our sports segment up front, because all pastors and ministry leaders love sports. And then on the back end, we're going to talk a little bit about ministry. So, John, you're finally home. You've been traveling all over the place. I'm going to give you the floor after we took our butt whooping yesterday. And, you know, we've been talking some smack, and we're not trying to project too much into the future about our team, but go ahead, sir. What stuck out to you yesterday?
I'm just going to throw out the fact that you didn't even get beat by a good team. You know, I thought maybe we'll hit the Eagles, we'll hit somebody. Yeah, man, I'm feeling for you. I am thankful, though, you swallow the pill early in the season. Usually it's later in the season. Take the L, move forward. I'm thankful I also have a podcast where we don't have to hear a bunch of ridiculous statements about the Cowboys. So all that. So in general, though, what I'm looking forward this week and looking back last week, one is San Francisco. They are the team. We're looking at 13 wins, regular season wins, like in a row. Caffrey, 12 touchdown, every 12 games with a touchdown. Man, they are clicking on all cylinders. I think I project that at the beginning. It's good to be right about something. It wasn't the Panthers. What I am looking forward, though, is Baker Mayfield the guy? And I think tonight, you got the option to really look at the game. It's going to be against a good defense, a good team. And if he comes through, man, the narrative changes really fast.
Baker Mayfield, that's coming tonight. Robert, what caught your eye in the NFL this weekend, sir?
One thing. Tua shuffle pass.
Dude, it was glorious. It was glorious.
Look, there's football. And then there's guys that like still think they're in the backyard doing stuff. He wasn't doing that. He was like at prom and in the backyard. You know, It was like this sick dance move. And then like what?
It was no look. It was no look. It was glorious. I'm a Brett Favre fan. I'm a Mississippi guy. It was I think the best I've ever seen in my life. And it was, I had to rewind it. I yelled at my wife to come see this. We're on my phone for 5 minutes, rewinding it, listening, watching it. Every time it got better. And I mean, I think I could do this whole podcast on that one play. Just go watch everything about it. But Tua was the guy. I mean, he literally just envision, you know, John Travolta's white suit with that dude on it at that moment. Nice. Very nice.
What else is there this week? I don't know.
Yep. And man, Mike McDaniels, he has tapped into something. You know, you're starting to wonder, you know, San Francisco's got a good thing going there, but man, he was such the brains behind that operation. But Paul, I would argue, no offense to San Francisco, but I think Miami's the best team in the NFL right now. What do you think, Paul?
Dude, look, Robert already mentioned it. That shuffle pass was amazing, but that's just one piece of the entire story when it comes to Tua's performance yesterday. It was out of control. You're talking 23 for 26. That is outstanding when it comes to throwing. Not only that, the guy had 4 touchdowns. And as I'm looking at these stats, because there's so many, I have to actually look at the piece of paper because you can't even remember this stuff, right? Like, it was ridiculous. No interceptions, 4 touchdowns.
In the air, team total 350 yards in the air worth of not just yaks, but bro, touchdowns. It was out of control. It's the first time I've seen from the Dolphins where they put up as many touchdowns in the air as they did on the ground. It was ridiculous. 5 touchdowns in the air, 5 touchdowns on the ground with a total, bro, of almost the same amount of yardage in the air as it was actually more. I'm sorry. It was 350 on the ground, 376 in the air. It was ridiculous. Talk about an amazing game when it comes to that. Like, bro, you can't ask for more. I mean, this is like video game scores, bro. 70-20. And on top of that, our backup quarterback threw for a bomb, bro. The guy was 2 for 2 with a touchdown.
And Jalen Waddle didn't even play.
No,
Jalen
he
Waddle was
didn't.
thinking, man, I missed out on my career averages and raising all that because, man, they were just annihilating. So they're rolling. I did hear something today. They said the O-line and the whole team has taken it on as their mission to keep Tua healthy. So that's going to be the question. Can he stay healthy? And I think Tua has been due for it because he took a lot of flack the past 2 years.
100%.
Some people thought he was a bust, and he's a good kid. And, man, he can just spin it. And his gift is I think he can assess the D and make a decision quicker than anybody. And so we saw that. Dad, what stuck out to you around the rest of the league yesterday?
It was easy. How bad was Big D? I mean, Denver, they let 70 points be scored on that defense.
Dude, that is bad.
That's the one thing I could. No, listen. We got to lick our wounds. We weren't prepared. We have been known. John's going to agree wholeheartedly. We have been known to lay an egg every once in a while, and we laid an egg. By the way, we've lost 8 out of 10 to Arizona. And so for some reason, we can't.
Hey, they're a good team. They played amazing yesterday. They're not the worst team in the league. I promise you.
Here's the deal. I think, let me go ahead and start the excuses. I think Diggs hurt us because he was the back end. He was the confidence. He gave us courage in the back end. We got Mike on the front end. And I think that we thought, well, no big deal. We'll be all right. But I think that hurt us. We ran into a buzzsaw. We got to work on our red zone. We were going up and down the field. And then momentum, momentum's real. And this is the NFL team, and they're good. So we got on the wrong side of momentum. And it's the same old. But it's beginning of the year. People are like, oh, can this defense play against the Niners and the Eagles? This is the same defense that played in 2 years in a row, barely lost to the Niners. We beat the Eagles last year. We scored 40 points on them. So we'll get it together, and we'll be better for it. I'm not losing hope. But Mike McCarthy and Dak, they got to get it together in the red zone. Or if we don't, this can be a long year.
Yeah, John was trying to skip on by without talking about the Cowboys, and I was just going to keep on going. But you know what? We'll own it. We've been not doing the whole Super Bowl talk, but we own it. We take that one on the chin. Mike McCarthy's got to scheme up some better plays. Dak's just got to make it happen more.
I just want to. Last week it was Mike McCarthy was the best.
He was no.
This week he's got to do better, man. It's tough to be in Dallas.
He was calling complimentary offense, but see, it works when you're getting so many takeaways and scoring. But yesterday, and you know this, John, he's old school. And what is Paul's coach? He schemes it up. He schemes guys open, and we get in the red zone, and he didn't call a bad game until he got in the red zone. It's just. You got to have that new age scheme, and he just didn't have it.
Remember, Joseph.
But our all defense got punched in the mouth. They did. They just got punched in the mouth.
There was only one offensive lineman that had played any last year.
But we still should have. You just got to be better. I mean, you can't be the best defense in the league.
It's hard to pass. We weren't doing good pass protecting. They finally got that together running.
Dak was running, but still, you just got to convert. We were moving up and down the field.
We need to win that game.
Yeah, we'll keep it moving.
I feel like I'm at this pep talk that I don't want to be a part of right now.
I know. We're gonna. Hey,
man, just get me out of here. We're going to do better. No, we're not. It's okay. I don't
just pat each other on the back.
We'll talk about this later on your phone call with each other.
Dad, let's talk about John's
former. It's hard to be a Cowboy fan.
Hey, Dad, let's talk about John's former lover, the Commanders, and they got that new offensive coordinator, and they put up 3 points when the Bills got right. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Hey, let's talk about this real quick.
That's a good team.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good team. But man, 3 points.
Mhm.
What's going on with Trevor Lawrence
Gosh.
and the Jags? They're struggling. They're not looking to form. They've almost regressed thus far. Man, the Colts 2-1. Who saw this coming? The Ravens are a pretty good team, and the Colts squeaked it out. Seahawks won. Bears, definitely the worst team in the league. The Raiders stink, man. They stink. The Steelers are finding ways to win. Browns are coming.
Careful.
Oh.
Oof, oof,
Oh,
oof.
all right.
They do stink, though.
Give
They
us
do
your
stink.
Raider assessment, sir.
E.
Can you say that on this podcast? I don't think you can. So John knows my thoughts on the Raiders. So, okay, I was a kid, Roll Tide. And so when in the 70s, you
Oh, here we go. Back in the 70s. I used that same line in the 90s.
Thank you. Ken Stabler. You may not know that name, but I do. And he was number 12 for the Tide and number 12 when I was a kid. So we had this thing, Joe remembers, it was called the J.C. Penney catalog. It was serious business, okay? And you get your jerseys and all that. So, Paul, you can get you a jersey for the Dolphins from there, okay? And,
hey, thanks.
So, yeah, and so I had a Raiders jersey when I was a kid, and that was it. You know, the NFL, like we've tried in our family. I got 2 boys, and they're, 25, 26, whatever, 24. And you try to get away from your NFL team. You just can't. Like, it's done. And trust me, I'm a Raider fan. I've tried with everything I can. I've even tried this year to be a Saint fan because I love Derek Carr. I think he's a great guy. He loves Jesus, and I'm good with that. But I'm still a Raider fan. So the problem with the Raiders is simple. They have an owner that knows nothing about football. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Oh, gosh. The story of the Raiders. Like,
Silver and black. Woohoo!
As
That's
Cowboy
awesome.
fans, it could get worse. It could be the Raiders or the Tennessee Vols. But, hey, Robert, while you're licking your wounds, why don't you give us a current – let's shift gears to college for a minute.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us a current assessment on your Crimson Tide?
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Man,
That
this
was
is
a
a
good
first
win.
for this
That
is
was
this
a
is a
good win.
first for Alabama fans. I mean, this is you're struggling right now with what to say.
We moved in 2006. We moved to Tuscaloosa. My family and I served at the church right across the street from Bryant-Denny Stadium, Calvary Baptist.
Wow.
We were at every game, Shula's last year till when we left in 2012. So we obviously hit it right. I actually liked the Tide before that, being from the South, whatever. But this has been a hard year, man. So this is what I think. Just go with me for a minute. There's this thing called the transfer portal, right?
Trust.
And I really think that Saban thought he was going to hit it big in the transfer portal with a QB somewhere. And I just don't think it happened. And I think the guys are good. Now, here's the thing. I think Milroe's probably one of the best athletes in college football right now. But one of my sons and I, we just say we should run the triple option and be done with it. Okay. With the amount of meat we got on the O-line, we should just break everybody's, neck and just run the triple option and have fun and see what happens. However, Milroe may throw one of the best long balls we've ever seen. So it's just a matter of getting our guy open and see what he can do, fling it, and what happens. But something did. If you watch that game, which we did watch, we do watch our team. We're, in pain these days. But the first half to the second half was a different team. And so let's get back to, as they say, let's get back to Alabama football. Let's run the ball. That was nice to see, honestly. It was nice to see a little mix, run and pass and all that kind of good stuff. So I do have another question. Do I have freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. Go.
Yeah, we'll just
So question is this, is Oregon for real?
They are for real. They are for real.
Yeah. Cause I mean, if they're for real, they've got the whole team. I mean, they got the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's going to be interesting to see.
Yep. And it's going to be interesting to see Oregon versus Washington. Washington's blowing everybody out.
Absolutely.
So is USC. They had a little bit of a dogfight, but you're seeing offenses like you've never seen before. And Pac-10's always had good quarterbacks and good offenses, but I tell you what, man, it is unbelievable. But I think Oregon's for real. Everybody
How weird is that? How weird is that this whole conference is imploding and going away?
Yep.
And all these teams are doing great.
Quarterback plays better than ever.
It's sad. It's
Dad,
sad.
we got a little bit of truth serum this past week with Colorado taking the thump. Obviously, they didn't have Travis Hunter. What'd you make of that as they head into the USC game?
I was not surprised. I was not surprised. They have skilled players all over the place. They don't have anybody in the trenches, and that goes with offense and defense. So, he was able to bring some of his skilled players, and they will make a difference, and they're going to win some games. But at the end of the day, it's all about the meat in the middle. And so you got to have those big guys. And so he will pick it up next year. He will be loaded. People are going to want to play with him, and so watch out for him. He's taking receipts. And I believe that. So he'll get some good wins. He'll get some losses, but he's on his way.
John, the ACC looked pretty good. Florida State had a close one with Clemson, and Clemson is really just having a down year too. Which, by the way, Robert, before I hand off to John, I have the utmost respect for Urban Meyer. I watched the Florida documentary, and seeing all that it took out of Urban Meyer to get Florida at Alabama's level for 3 years, and then Saban's been doing it for however long now. I mean, I think he's due an off year. And if you look at the quarterback landscape, who we talk about? Tua, Alabama quarterback. Jalen Hurts, Alabama quarterback. Mac Jones. And so he's tapped into it. It ain't going to be long. He's going to figure it out. But, man, talk about longevity.
They got a good one coming. They got a good one coming.
I just don't know where he gets this energy from and its longevity, and he just keeps it going. But anyway.
People, honestly, living there in Tuscaloosa as long as I did, people don't know how entrenched he is in community. I mean, like they see the gruff guy, they see the whatever, but they don't see the Habitat for Humanity homes. They don't see the stuff they do with the team, the church services, first time, at the beginning of season and stuff like that. They don't see all that stuff. And the reality is he loves his players. He loves his team, his wife. It's family, and it's what they love to do. He expects a lot. And I think that's what's kept him where he is.
Yep. No, I agree. John, the ACC looked pretty good. Florida State got the win. Carolina got the win. Drake May still putting together a good season. What are you seeing on that side of the landscape?
Well, I think it's been clear that the SEC is starting to regain some balance there. It was looking bad. But I think there's some contenders. There's some people coming down the pipe. And I'll slide in an unspoken here. Penn State, man, played well. They're 4-0 now. Just a couple facts. They held the Iowa's quarterback to 42 yards passing and 4 first downs.
Wow.
That's just incredible to think about. I think, and you kind of wonder, they're always ranked high. They kind of and they bump one bad game. I think this might be the year. I think this might be the year that they come through and shock some people. I didn't have them on my list. I think they probably could make the college football playoff.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to watch. All right, let's shift gears. We're going to go to our preacher picks, and you can pick a game, college or pro. But, Paul, I'm going to start with you. This is the game of the week. And, man, actually, there's 2 games of the week. But yours, Buffalo Bills versus Miami Dolphins. That's going to be a scoring fest. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, right now we've got a lot of momentum, and I say we, the Dolphins. I think with clicking the way that they're doing, this will be a big test for them when they play against Buffalo. It's just I'm hoping for a fun game to watch and a serious one where I think here, like if you already didn't start to kind of begin plausibly saying, okay, Tua might be in a conversation for MVP. This weekend might solidify some of that for this guy if he actually starts playing against teams like Buffalo the way that he did against the Broncos. I mean, if he kicks clicking like that and the rest of our offenses, it should be, I think it'll be a good game. I'm going to be biased. I've got the Dolphins winning, but I'm looking forward to the game. This is going to be one of the more anticipated games for the weekend for sure.
I agree. And I was just looking at the schedule. Just put it on your list. First week in November, it's going to be Chiefs versus the Dolphins in London. That's the only bad part. We're all going to be preaching at our churches, and the game's going to be going on. But, man, that one's going to be a barn burner. Dad, what game are you looking at going into week 4 of NFL and then another week of college?
I'm sorry, I got to be a homer. I got to be a homer because I have to see where we are. We're playing the Patriots, and the reason why is the Patriots, they have a very good defense. I want to see what our offense can do against the defense because after that, we go against John's Niners. And so if we can put together a good, solid win by 15 points, it's going to be dirty. They got a good defense, but if we can look pretty good like we did against Jets, solidify defense again, then we can right the ship, and then we can go to the 49ers. And with a little bit of pressure off of us, because we already got that loss, and I think we can go play free. So I really want to see how they bounce back to see if they can go ahead and contend again with the big boys. And by the way, that Buffalo Miami game, that is going to, I mean, Buffalo is playing good ball. That defense is humming. So this is going to be a great game. And we're going to see if Miami truly is a Super Bowl contender in this game. Win or lose, they don't have to win it, but they got to go toe-to-toe with a physical team. I want to see if they can do it.
It's a toss-up, man. I think it's 50-50. It could go either way, but I'm really hoping that it goes Miami's way. Dude, it could be a really good game. But it's at Buffalo, so we'll see.
Yeah. John, this sounds like a Cowboy therapy session, and you're the counselor. What game are you watching?
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's not going to be the Cowboys. I can promise you that. I'm just going to throw that out there. Nobody's shocked. I am going to be with the Falcons in Jacksonville. I really want to see Trevor Lawrence succeed. I think he's got a shot. Man, you just hope against hope. You want the Jaguars to be good. You're always content with the Falcons losing, or I am. I don't know how other people feel, but that's the one I'm going to watch. There's a lot of interesting. I think this is the point. You go 1-3. I think you pack it in, right? Like you start getting towards that path. You could say the same about the Bengals. You could say the same about a few other teams. You get to the 1-3, and it's hard to make a pull up out of that pit. So that's where I'm going to be watching.
That's when you enter the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Robert, what game are you watching this week?
Well, I'm going to have to go shock the world.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Colorado at USC?
No.
Oh.
This is good. We're going to stay in the NFL.
Okay.
Washington beats Philadelphia next week.
Oh, whoa. Okay. I like that one. Take out John's former girl.
Now.
I like it.
Okay, so it's just they've got cool uniforms. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I love the all black. Let's just do that. And they're going to go into Philly and shock the world. I'm just telling you. And then they'll probably lose the next 5 straight, but they're going to lose.
Well, it seems like Bieniemy will have one good game offensively and then a stinker and then a good game. And, hey, I'll tell you the game I'm going to be watching is it's going to be the Stink Fest, but this will be real interesting. You got the Broncos versus the Bears. Ooh, two of the bottom teams in the league, but that'll be pretty interesting. And then you got an interdivision rival. You got the 2-1 Browns versus the Ravens. That's going to be a hard-nosed game. Yeah. Bengals, Dad, are 0-2, but they're playing the Titans, who are reeling too. So they're at 1-2. So that's a desperation game. You got the Rams, who we'll see how they look tonight, but coming against the Colts. Oh, you got Baker Mayfield versus the Saints. I mean, that's a good game. We got a pretty good slate going into week 4. And, of course, the Cardinals are at the 49ers. So they're going to come out. They're going to look pathetic. They're going to look like the worst team in the league. Just lay an egg and just make us look bad. But it's whatever.
They are, dude. Hey, put it on San Francisco. 36 dropbacks by Purdy, 33 rushes. They blitzed him 33 times. And they still get 3 times he didn't get blitzed. That's
unbelievable. Dad, real quick before we move on, does Colorado have a shot versus USC this weekend?
0 shot. No shot. Now USC don't have much of a defense, so they'll put some score. So I can see 32 to 50, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it was good while it lasted, but
you got to jump in there too, and you got to know that the Georgia-Auburn game is going to be the tester.
Yeah, but man, Auburn, I mean, Georgia's been struggling against nobodies. I mean, my church members were like shaking in their boots yesterday because they can't even pull out a good win versus South Carolina and Ball State. So I don't know. I'm not convinced of this Georgia team.
This year it's up in the air. Hey, Miami, Florida State didn't play good, so Miami, I think, has a shot to take ACC. Yep. Hey, they could be in the Final
Florida
Four.
State and Miami, man, that'll be a great ACC championship.
We'll see. Let's hold on. Let's get through North Carolina. Let's get through Clemson. Hold on.
Hey,
we're doing good. We're doing good.
Paul's praying that they play against Carolina, and then Adam or John got to wear a Miami jersey. That's what he's hoping.
No, Adam. I'm fine with John. John's fine. I have no bones to pick.
Adam might actually own one of those jerseys already.
Oh yeah.
That's 100% fair.
He plays all sides of the
If not, I will mail him one. I don't care.
Man. That's funny.
Hey, Adam will probably have a Dolphins jersey before you do, Paul.
100%, bro.
Dolphins, I can see you now.
We won't ever
Team
see it
Tyreek. I don't know what you're talking about.
we
Blah,
won't
blah,
ever
blah,
see
blah,
it because right now he's on the podcast load management system of LeBron. But anyway, Robert, we're just giving.
Hey, I was saying I've been a fan of Tua for a long time.
We're giving grief, Robert, to our other co-host. But anyway, fellas, let's move on to ministry and leadership because, man, we could talk football all day. Robert, before we jump in real quick, can you give us just a little background of where you're planted, a little bit about your family and your ministry?
Yeah, sure. Well, I am in Huntsville, Alabama, and I am the executive director of the Madison Baptist Association, which is our association of churches. We have about 90 churches. We actually adopted 3 last night in our annual meeting, church plants so we're about 93, I guess. And in Madison County, which is the fastest growing county in probably the Southeast and maybe even in the country, I don't know. But every year, the last 3 years, Huntsville's been one of those, how they do the top city to whatever, blah, blah, blah. All that means is everybody wants to move in here and your house prices go way up. And I just bought a house and it's bad. So, but I'm thankful God is, it's really amazing. You talk about the harvest field and all that kind of stuff. And so I've been in ministry for 33 years, youth ministry, been a lead pastor, all those things, revitalize, whatever the terms are you want to do. We just want to be biblical and want to see people become disciples of Jesus and encourage that and try to make disciples. So we're going to do it any way we can here. It's different in the fact that so in the South, things kind of move a little slower pace than some places, but Huntsville's moving really fast right now. And so the lostness here, we're seeing a lot of things that we haven't seen just due to the number of people that are coming in over the last 2 years, 3 years. And it just isn't slowing down anytime soon. All the new businesses, government jobs, things coming in, FBI, Space Force, whatever, however it all, comes about, NASA and all the Army stuff and Redstone Arsenal and da-da-da. But the technology here is the big draw. And so one of the things that we know as an association is we have to tweak some things if we're going to be able to communicate to the culture here. And so we're looking at things like podcasts and technology and other stuff to be able to potentially make an impact. Probably in y'all cities are the same way. You've got all these older places that they're redoing, revitalizing the community itself. And so we want to get on the front end of some of that in ministry and be there to help people do what they're doing. And it's really great that like some of these little incubators where businesses are coming in and stuff like that. We've got church planters in there planting churches. And so it's real cool that they're literally able to make disciples of these people that are living in secular worlds. And, so they're able to do it through relationships of owning a business and then being a pastor of a church as well. So it's pretty cool. And the flip is that is true too, man. We're talking about some churches and people that have been here a very long time, and to be able to walk into their tradition and not just want to flip over their whole worlds, but encourage them as well to go out with being able to be flexible. For instance, we're working with a church right now that their congregation has dwindled down to about 15, 12 people, something like that. And they're bringing in a new church plan into their facility and their place. And so as they may be rolling out, we're planning new in there. So we're really excited about seeing what God's going to do.
Very cool. And I love the position that you have of getting to unite pastors. And, that's part of the reason why we did this podcast is people don't understand the weight of ministry, and you need other pastors and co-laborers to walk with and talk with. And we're all the time texting and encouraging each other. We were doing that today, and that's a big part of your job. And so let's just camp out here for a minute, and we'll pass it around the horn. But Robert, I first want to start with you. What would you say is some of the value we have in connection and connecting with other pastors around us?
All right. Case in point, this morning, we've got a pastor from Romania that is here with us this week. We had our big meeting yesterday, and we got a partnership with him. He came in my office, we're sitting, we're talking vision and stuff like that. And then Holy Spirit just puts this thing on me to ask about his family. And so it got real fast. And if
You don't sit and talk and have these conversations. You can't encourage somebody in the tough stuff. You can't get real, and you can't kind of cut through the fluff. I mean, you know what happens at church? Hey, how you doing? Or, oh, we're great. Everybody's great. Everybody's great at church, but the reality is pastors need some encouragement. We need some friendships. We need some relationships. And the only way to do that is to really make the time. Like, you just don't get it. You have to make it. And those encouraging texts and phone calls and coffees and whatnot, man, that can go such a long way. And that's one of the calls for me to this job particular. I've been literally on the field for a month now. And one of the calls is that I've already been able to see through the course of a coffee or a lunch or whatever, that there's this need for somebody to be in their life, just encouraging these pastors. And Truett Cathy said it this way, Chick-fil-A guy, he said, who needs encouragement? Anybody who breathes. And I just kind of think about that along the way, because sometimes pastors are expected to be superhuman, and they're on these islands, pedestals, whatever you want to say. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. There's days you feel like you got a bunch of friends, and there's days you feel like you are absolutely alone. And so it's in those days where I try to come in either through my ministry here, or even another thing that I'm a part of, where we want to build relationships that are solid. And that encouragement just goes so long. I mean, it just goes so far. So it's good.
That's good. Paul, you want to follow that?
Yeah, I mean, all of that I think sounds great, and it's true. Pastors need deep, meaningful friendships. I think one of the things that I think can be a pretty big minefield to notice and to see within a pastor's life is if they can't say that they have a friend even within the church, that's a problem. You shouldn't ever be in a place where you're that isolated. And then at the same time, if you can get an opportunity to be able to have friendships around the area with other pastors, so you don't feel like you're in isolation, and you can have ministry collaboration in some ways, and that can be an array of different things. But to know that you can bounce off ideas, you can gain wisdom, you can have an opportunity to be able to share ideas or just troubleshoot things, just be able to say, hey, have you experienced this in ministry? How have you walked through this kind of a situation? I think is huge. I mean, we would never not ask that of our own people when we say to them, community matters, right? When we say to them, it's important and it's valuable for you to be able to be in meaningful friendships and relationships within the church, because we would not want to be able to at least make decisions with people who know us well and give us counsel from deep within our own community, because that I value that immensely. I mean, I am so thankful for the friends that I have within Brainerd here, and the pastors that I know that can feed my soul when I need it, can pray with me, and can be able to relate with me in ways that make sense when it comes to leadership. When you don't have that, you can really get yourself in a place where you do feel alone. You can't talk, and that can be a very scary place to be at, and oftentimes can lead to burnout, can lead to questioning an individual's call to ministry, and then before you know it, it could really begin to do some soul damage in the life of a pastor. And so it's very important to have those kinds of ties and friendships, because if not, it could be a very difficult road ahead for sure.
On a different note, one of the things I've been noticing more is, especially depending on your demographic, but a lot of times the small towns, the churches are not connected as much as you think they would be. And so I have tried to personally make a concentrated effort to connect myself with some of the churches in our community. Especially, you get sometimes you get into oh, you go over there, and oh, you go over there. And so finding ways to not only partner, but collaborate and prioritize a relationship and collaborate in community ministry. I think that's super helpful, especially for some of the, southern small towns that can just take, the church cultures are such a big part in the town. And I think when they can see the churches partnering together, that's key. But that's a little bit of different perspective of it. John, what pops out in your head?
Well, I think just practically speaking, you get the opportunity, like these guys here, all of you guys are people text, call, check in on, visit if I'm happen to be in the area. Robert, I just called him up and said, "Hey, I'd like to spend 3 or 4 days with you on my Sabbath. Can you sort something out?" And he found me a lake house. So if you want to go hang out somewhere, go call Robert. But the fact is that you can just pick up a phone. Hey, I got something going on. I need prayer.
Mhm.
And you have someone there that not only understands both experientially, but their heart is broken for you because of that relationship. And I couldn't imagine really doing pastoral ministry without deep connections like that. People that to talk you off the ledge every now and then. You're like, "Hey man, it's Monday. I'm ready to quit. Let's get it over with." And then people to like balance out and give good godly wisdom. And I think it's a gift to the church. I think the beauty of maybe the expansive network of relationships now is the fact that even in this space right here, you got people all across different states, different cities, and yet there's still this unity that can exist together. That you can pick up a phone and call and check on, ask for prayer, those different things. But at the same time, I think the pastor has to model relational equity, or else the church
Mhm.
is never going to buy into it as essential.
Mm.
If they always see the pastor on his own, disconnected, aloof, whatever, then they're going to see, yeah, he talks about community because it's the right thing to say, but he doesn't really live it out.
Mm.
And if he's not living it out for fear of man or fear to be found out or fear of failure or
Mhm.
whatever else, then you're never going to foster a disciple making culture
Mm.
that values intimacy and relationships. And so I'd
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
That's good. Dad, what direction does your mind take you with this topic?
Uh, when I hear all this, it takes me back to who I am, and it takes me to a place where other pastors are. For instance, I am an introvert. And so for me, I think those things are important to know who you are. And so for me, if left unchecked, I will just put my head down and just plow away. And, because it's something different about, you have relationships, within the church. And then I work hard knowing that I'm a introvert to try to build relationships in my community with other pastors. And it's hard when you meet other pastors that don't really know who they are and not making strides, if you're an introvert, to know it and say, hey, listen, by nature, it's kind of hard for me to go out and make relationships, particularly sometimes when it's other pastors, because we always have those tendencies to judge. Well, what is their church compared to my church? Well, he seems to be more well spoken than I, or he's a little older, I'm a little younger, or I'm a little older and I'm not in touch with the younger. And so we have this propensity to go inward and begin to judge, which causes us a lot of times to pull back if we're not careful. And so I think if you're an introvert, such as I am, I have to work hard to take my head out of working so hard inwardly and to work hard and think about making other contacts or connecting with others. And if you are an extrovert, to know that there may be some introvert pastors in your area or even friends that I will go and make the call. I love it because I'll get a call from John every once in a while, and it reminds me that I got to make sure I need to receive from him. He needs to receive from me. But it's important to think that way, because if not, you will just lean in on your tendencies. And if you're an extrovert, it's really easy to say, well, they never called me, or I'm always the one. But it's important to just know who you are and know that you're different than other people. And if we can work together, knowing some of those things, I think we can go a long way. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Robert, something that kind of came up, I think we all know the pitfalls, but of isolation, and a lot of times as the stress level rises and, you hear the statement, leadership's lonely at the top, which there's truths and negative sides to that. So how can pastors avoid being lonely at the top, and how can they avoid isolation?
Intentionality. I know obviously that sounds, like, well, duh, but you have to intentionally not only have the relationships, but act on that. Meaning, so Joe, when you said that about personality styles and differences and stuff, that is really important. However, one thing that I know is that you can create space, you can create an environment that is safe and welcoming for the extrovert and the introvert, and allow both to coexist with what and I'm John knows this, but I have an organization called Passion Tree, and we have been this will be our 11th year of our pastors retreat that we do an annual retreat together. It started with 7 pastors in the mountains of North Carolina, and we had 30 pastors last year in Gatlinburg, and it's just incrementally grown each year. This year, over where you are, Paul, we're over in LJ, Fort Mountain Lodge Global over there. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've heard of LJ, but yeah.
We're doing our first marriage retreat for pastors and their wives. And so we're doing that in a couple of weeks. But it has provided the environment to allow community when needed, or isolated trip to the hammock when needed as well. And so the big thing when I say intentionality, you may have to search it out. Like you may have to Google pastor's retreat. You may have to do some things to be intentional about it. But this is what I can tell you too. I've never had somebody come on any of our retreats that were not blessed by it. Many have said literally it changed my life. It kept me in ministry. I now have these brothers that I go through life with, and I've seen it. I've seen their relationships grow deep based off of literally a few days together. It's mind-blowing, really. But it's kind of that. It's like what Jesus said, or sorry, not said, but did in Luke. It says Jesus often withdrew to the wilderness to pray, and that solitude, that isolated deal, as well as I do in Scripture, he took 2 or 3 with him. Sometimes he had those intimate moments of just this R&R, this getaway time, and it's incredibly important. And so I was reading this morning, and we all, if you're a disciple maker, Dan Spader's 4-chair discipling and stuff, and the 4 invitations of come and see and all that sort of stuff. But I realized there's one more, and it was mind-blowing to me this morning. But come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you
Rest.
Well, if you just put the command and the deal together, the noun and stuff, it's come and rest. And I was like, oh wow, that is so good. And so I think the intentionality piece is just huge.
Be intentional, pastors and ministry leaders, wherever you are. Have people in your corner, especially when your team loses, when they're on top. But anyway, Robert, we appreciate you jumping on with us today. Hopefully this will be the first of many. When you get your quarterback thing figured out, you can come in and share us with us. Everybody have a good day.